As America grew along the new frontier, many great legends were told.
Dad!
But no legend was greater than the one that surrounded a man of mystery, a man who began as John Reed, orphaned in an outlaw raid, raised by Indians, and witness to his brother's murder. He made a bond that lasted a lifetime.
I swear to you, Dad, there will be justice in the West.
For he rode to fame
To this, my brother,
with the mark of a silver bullet
I pledge my life.
and a black mask across his face. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear.
Oh, Silver!
With his trusted Indian companion, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order. Now the truth is told, the mask is lifted, and the man is revealed in the legend of the Lone Ranger.
Who is that masked man?
Yes, who is that masked man? That's me, and I'm not wearing a mask today. Okay, so a little impromptu stream from me today. Let me take a look, see who may or may not be in the chat. Or maybe viewing. Yeah, looks like we got 4 watching, maybe, if I'm reading this thing correctly. If LDG is watching, and I have any mic problems, I do have Discord open, so you can let me know if I'm having mic issues, which occasionally does happen. All right, so in this stream, let me just adjust my mic here a little bit. I want to talk about a recent column that was in the Wall Street Journal. And I'm going to bring it up here. Let's see if I can do that properly. Bear with me, folks. Okay. Let's make it full screen. All right. So this is a piece by Andy Kessler, and I thought it was particularly significant for today's news cycle, although this was originally published back on the 9th of this month. All right. Now, the first part of this is on his site, but the rest of it is behind a paywall, a Wall Street Journal paywall. I will not be showing you, therefore, the entire thing, because I'm not going to put Wall Street Journal content out for free, bypassing their system. So, all right, so here we go. The Voting Bloc Against Bossiness. Don't Tell Me What to Do, by Andy Kessler. Meet the Don't Tells, sure to be a political force in the next few elections. Their mantra is simple. Don't tell me what to do, hence the name. Their telltale sign is an obvious case of ODD. What's that? Operational Defiant Disorder, which, according to Johns Hopkins Medicine, is a behavior disorder, often in children who are, quote, uncooperative, defiant, and hostile toward peers, parents, teachers, and other authority figures. And then Andy goes on to say, yeah, I've got that. I think a lot of people have that. You know, it's interesting what the left tends to do with language. They turn anything they don't agree with, or people that potentially would disagree with them, into a disorder or suffering from a disorder. By this definition, the 13 colonies, the original 13 colonies that eventually became the United States, would have suffered from oppositional defiant disorder. No. All right, so let's continue. Also add, don't tell me what to say, to think, to pay. Backlash was inevitable against this metastic absurdity. Use only paper straws. Don't tell me what to do. You can't say master bedroom anymore. Oh, yes, I can. That 6-foot-tall dude winning all the NCAA women's swimming meets is really a woman. I don't think so. Every threat is existential. Maybe to you. No abortions ever. What? Your taxes, people pay. Your taxes pay people not to work. Well, make it stop. See, this article really isn't designed, as a conservative versus liberal article here. He's clearly utilizing a couple of elements from each side, most notably the no abortions ever thing. That is clearly aimed at the left, whereas the other ones here seem to be more right-leaning in terms of the defiance. This thing about the master bedroom, I have to laugh. This idea that you can't call the bedroom where you sleep in your house the master bedroom, because master is a slave term. Master has all kinds of different connotations that go beyond America's history with slavery. I mean, for example, if you've mastered a craft, people used to come up to me once they found out who my dad was, and they'd tell me, "Oh, your dad's a master carpenter. He built a staircase in my house, and it 30, 40 years ago, and it doesn't creak. It doesn't, they compliment his work all the time, and they refer to him as a master. So, I mean, there's no racism there. Plus, if a man who happens to be black owns a house, where he sleeps, he's perfectly fine in calling it a master bedroom. He's the master of the house. Like that, this idea of them wanting to reach into our homes and tell us what we can't call a room in our house. It's just pervasive. Okay, moving on here. Tea Partiers and red-hatted MAGA supporters pushed back against Obama-era bossiness. They didn't want high taxes to pay for open border welfare, gun confiscation, or being woke-poked. That's a good term there, woke-poked. I like that. Heck, they even supported a blundering bloviator for president. That's a shot at Trump. Once again, he's not seeming to come down on either side here. That's how desperate the don't tell dedication was. Note, there is a fine distinction between the don't cares, meaning I don't care, the leave me's, as in leave me alone, and the don't tells. The first two groups rarely vote, but the don't tells vote in droves on both sides of the aisle. I would say that's probably an accurate statement. If you don't care, by definition, you're probably not going to vote, at least not as often. And leave me alone's, leave me alone. I don't want to get in my car and drive to a voting poll or vote in any number of the much easier ways to do now that we have. Thanks again to the left. So he's right now he's saying that the don't tells are the most vocal and most active politically of the three mentioned here. Amazingly, the whole don't tell thing comes down as a huge surprise to self-important city dwellers on both coasts. Yes, most big city progressives like to be dominated and enjoy being told what to do. Walk, don't walk. Mind the gap. Wait in long lines. Alternate side of the street parking regulations. Calorie counts in donut shops. Who the fuck doesn't know that donuts are bad for you? Seriously. Confiscatory taxes. By the way, that F-bomb, that was me, not the guy who wrote the column. New York's unconstitutional ban on large sodas. Once again, who the fuck doesn't know that soda is not good for you? San Francisco's ban on Happy Meals. Okay, ditto there. The seemingly mandatory use of words such as positionality and performative in conversation. That's fascinating. Again, getting back to what the left does with language. You see, those words, more often than not, will be used by somebody on the left, not on the right. Or even center. Liberals, implied in the name, say they are for freedom, but are they? The progressive wing is full of authoritarians telling others what to do and how to think. America is a racist country. Wear a mask. Limit charter schools. Bees are fish in California. I have not heard that one. Do they really believe or want people to believe that in California bees are fish? A drag queen in every school, Michigan's Attorney General promises. ESG, CRT, DEI. Okay, I'm not sure what ESG stands for. I know that CRT is critical race theory, that DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion. I could go on. Meanwhile, the don't tells are fed up with submission. Elon Musk, who tweets about a woke mind virus, became a card-carrying don't tell in 2020 when California Governor Gavin Newsom's lockdowns closed his Tesla factory. Okay, now here at this point, the article goes in behind a paywall, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and I'm just going to read to you read from my notes on the matter, since I did read the rest of it. All right. He goes on to say in the article that the don't tells are leaving leftist bastions in droves, and that these people aren't necessarily conservatives, since don't tells, as he claims here, exist on both sides, and I do think that's true. California is a good example. This flight is causing nearby states like Arizona to start to swing Democrat, once again because not all of the don't tells are conservatives, and a great many of them happen to be leftists themselves. He also goes on to say that many leftists who are leaving leftist states because they have become hellholes still take their leftism with them because they refuse to believe it was those ideas that turned their state into said hellholes in the first place. And then he closes out that article. Once again, if you do have a subscription to Wall Street Journal, you can go ahead and read the whole thing. But it is interesting to me. That article's got me thinking, and that's why I'm sharing these thoughts in a live stream. It's very important to pay close attention to that which we as individuals are proven wrong about. I believe it's the opposite, really, of human nature. Some would say we tend to want to ignore that which we are proven wrong about. There are still people out there who swear up and down, for example, that the Hunter Biden laptop story isn't real, and that Trump colluding with Russia story is. We still have people who believe Bush went AWOL while in the National Guard. Dan Rather's career was more or less destroyed by his adherence to this idea, despite all the facts to the contrary. When we get older, we're supposed to get smarter. This is what should happen as we replace things we observe to be incorrect with things that we observe to be correct. Many people do this as they get older, but there's a common phenomenon out there where some people, the older they get, the more they tend to resist new information. They're fine with what they know and what they think, which also tends to be what they've always known and thought. When you ask conservatives who used to be liberals what eventually made them change, they always say the same thing. It was life. The stuff I learned from addled leftists posing as public school educators didn't work. Anyway. Let's see, anybody in the private chat yet? No, not that I can tell. Alrighty. Don't have too many out here yet. One more thing I do want to mention here. There's a podcast out there called The Shuttle Podcast. It's hosted by Connor Trinneer and Dominic Keating, the actors who played Engineer Trip Tucker and Armory Officer Reed on Star Trek Enterprise. It's very good. They interview people, obviously, that are related to Star Trek and have played characters, and some people behind the scenes and such. Recently, they had a guest named Michael Dorn, who is an actor that I adore. He played Lieutenant Worf, later Lieutenant Commander Worf, in all of the Star Trek films of the Berman era, and I guess he's reprising the role in a way in the upcoming Secret Hideout production of Picard 3. Although I don't consider those characters to be the authentic characters, even though they are played by the original actors. Anyway, he had an interview on this podcast in which he told a story, interesting story, about a Hollywood actress who became upset because her hairdresser was essentially the wrong race. She didn't think that this person could adequately take care of her hair and get it to where it needed to be for the production because of her ethnicity, her race. And she got that hairdresser removed and replaced, i.e. fired, and replaced with one that she did approve of. Now you might say, well, what did this happen? This happened in the 50s? Did this happen, back in the Cecil B. DeMille version of Hollywood, where we hear all these stories about rampant racism and the era of Mammy and such? No. The actress he was talking about, and you'll know her when you see her. I will be showing this here. There we go, that's her. The actress's name is Michelle Hurd. Now, before I go any further, do not contact this person. Do not confront this person at a convention. And no, that is not a dog whistle for confronting this person at a convention or confronting or communicating with this person at all. But he mentioned this story about how she felt that her hairdresser needed to be black and hooted and hollered until that person was replaced. And being an egalitarian, or a person who at least strives to be egalitarian, I find this just as distressful as hearing stories about the Hollywood of yesteryear, in which it was whites only. Hairdressers, or anybody who works with people, they should be enough of an expert on all the different kinds of actors that are out there to be adequate at taking care of somebody's hair. And that have to be the same ethnicity as that person. I'm going to take her out of here now. All right, there we go. And so it just seems to me that if that's what's going on now in Hollywood, thank goodness I don't work there, and B, has anything really changed? I mean, the colors may have swapped a little bit, but if you're talking about true and authentic racism, where you are making character and skill judgments based solely on the kind of chassis a person has, the color of their skin, whatever criteria, a superficial criteria of physicality, then we've actually regressed. I mean, the 80s was a time that I remember where egalitarianism was embraced. In the 80s, the highest paid man on television was Bill Cosby. Yes, I know, eventually we found out that he was this not very nice person who assaulted many people and drugged them and such. But still, we didn't know that back then. America didn't know that, and America made him the highest paid guy on television at one point. Eddie Murphy at one point was the highest paid movie actor in Hollywood. Oprah Winfrey was at one point, again, during the 80s, the highest paid woman on television, and among the highest paid people on television. I just don't think a racist country can do that. Not to say that there isn't racism in the country, of course. I think there's racism everywhere, and I think everybody's got at least a little bit of it in them at some point. It doesn't matter if you go to the phone directory and you're looking for an attorney with a Jewish name, or you just automatically assume that the one black guy on an all-white basketball team is probably going to be their best player. This thought may enter your head. Yeah, it's a racist thought, but it's something that we all struggle with as human beings. And lately, we've been replacing equality with a different word called equity, which is, for the most part, simply means an equality of outcomes, which is the antithesis of what it should be. There's a wonderful story written by Kurt Vonnegut, and looking it up right now here because I don't remember the exact. I know that the title of it is a person's name. Something Bergeron. Read it a long time ago. Sorry, folks. You get to hear some outstanding brain farts here as I look this up for you. Alrighty. Harrison Bergeron, that's the name of the short story. It was first published in 1961 in the magazine of fantasy and science fiction. And it's a story that deals with the absurdity and lack of fairness, really, when it comes to equity. It takes place in the year 2081, in which the 211th, 212th, and 213th Amendments to the Constitution dictate that all Americans are fully equal and not allowed to be any smarter, better looking, or physically able than the rest of them. And the person who is in charge of enforcing this is the Handicapper General. That's his title, or her title. And she forces citizens to wear handicaps in order to equalize things. So if you're too beautiful, you have to wear an ugly mask. If you are too smart, you have to wear devices in your ears that continuously interrupt your thoughts with loud noises and sounds. And if you're too athletic and too strong, you have to wear heavy weights to make sure that you can't move any quicker than the average person. And it sounds farcical, but that is the logical progression if we continue to go on this trajectory. I do recommend reading that story. It is thought-provoking as well as it is kind of absurd and funny. It was meant as a satire, but the premise upon which it is based is not satirical at all. The title character is a 7-foot-tall, hyper-intelligent man who is young man who is forced to, and he's very handsome, of course. He's got to wear all these things. He's got to wear the mask to make him ugly. He's got to have the things put in his ears to break up his thoughts so he can't function any better than a stupid person. And he wears about 47 pounds of extra weight around his neck to make sure that he can't outrun somebody or whatnot. It's it's a warning, that story. All right, before I go here, this we've already gone about 25 minutes here if you include the Lone Ranger trailer that I played in the beginning. Let's see who's in the chat. Definition of a Democrat. This is Mr. Londell's Groovy Movies. Definition of a Democrat: a Republican who hasn't been mugged yet. Yeah, that's a pugnacious little version of what I said earlier. Although I'll confess I heard that one first. And then Sam says first, Kingdom of Vineland or Vinland says hi, and Mr. Sam says Kingdom of Vineland. And then claps. Okay, well, not too many people here. This was an impromptu, unscheduled stream that I just thought I'd hop on and somnambulantly meander through. hoping as few people actually saw it as I could, because I knew it wasn't going to be that great. But anyway, I want to thank you all for watching. I don't know if I'll be saving this one or not. But we'll see. Otherwise, it'll just be the most recent one that you can see on my site, or on my channel. Okay, so now a whole bunch of people are chiming in here. Let's see, or at least 2 of them. Kingdom of Vinland. What do you think of 40K? If you do like it, what's your favorite faction? I've never played 40K. I've heard of it, of course. Everybody has, but I haven't played it. Darren, hope you get more videos from. We get more videos from you soon. Yes, I do intend on putting out another Star Trek from a Submariner's Perspective video, at least one here in the coming future. I think I have 2 lined up. I've also got another Twilight Zone review to do, along with an actual movie review. First one I've done of those, so we'll be seeing those coming out here very soon. But okay, 27 minutes. This is Darren Wagner signing off. Thank you for your attention. Have a great rest of your day.